I remember that day vividly. In October 2008, it was a cold morning, and I stayed home from school in an empty house. The TV was turned to the Disney Channel, and I had pre-recorded a movie on the DVR. It was a film by Tim Burton called The Nightmare Before Christmas. As I began watching it for the first time, something strange happened. Never in my life have I been so invested in a movie before. All of a sudden, I was in love with cinema. So, I began with clay, making characters out of soft clay and shooting frame by frame to create a stop-motion short film. Just like the filmmakers of The Nightmare Before Christmas, I would spend countless hours hunched over a camera and moving my characters. All of my back-breaking hard work could be seen on camera. Kinda. So I pushed myself even further. I began writing scripts, characters, and stories until I would make my first filmed and edited feature in my filmmaking career. The Boy. The Boy is a 40-minute short film that I didn't show a whole lot of people. As a child, when I made this, I made 6 discs with covers, artwork, and everything, and passed them out to my friends. A couple of years later, I tried to destroy as many copies as possible. I was embarrassed. But thankfully I held on to this one copy, the only copy left of this film. And yes, it is very bad.
Well, I thought you were dead.
The scenes and dialogue were all made up entirely from improvisation. Nobody knew where to start and nobody knew where to finish. It was all just a long, continuous take. Now where do I go from here? You made a bad movie. What could I do next? So I made a sequel. Although it is still really bad, I started to notice that I was beginning to form my own style. I had better editing. I was getting more experience. And so, now that I have made several 2-second long animations and 2 very bad movies, where do I go from here? The answer is that I wanted to become a YouTuber. I loved being creative. Making videos at this time of my life was very fun for me, and being a YouTuber wasn't anything new to me. While I made my claymation films as a kid, I would make other types of videos, reaction videos, gaming videos, anything. As long as I had a camera, I would make anything I could. But let's go back to 2016. I started out by making better reaction videos. They were the easiest type of content to make. Followed up by vlogs and goofy videos with friends. And then what happened next was a big jump for my creativity in my life. I was always into movies, but I had never looked at them with a professional or critical eye. It wasn't until I started watching film reviewers on YouTube that I began to realize that there's more to a film than just being good or bad. So I became a film reviewer. I even considered it as a future job. Writing film reviews became something I was really good at. And making these videos was crucial to developing my style. I began developing more complex editing skills. For once, I felt really good about what I was making. And on the last day of my freshman year in high school, I sat in the library, thinking about my future and how I've come a long way. I always said to myself, I want to be a filmmaker. But how could I be a filmmaker if I've never even made a movie? Of course I made shorts as a kid, but to me that didn't count. And so I sat there thinking to myself, until I said something that I will never, ever forget. You are going to make a movie this summer. You will write a script, cast your characters, edit, and direct a film this summer, or you are giving up on your dream entirely. And so I began to write. I had my story, I had my characters, I had my movie. This was the beginning of something special, and I had never been so motivated in my life. The film was named Smithereens, a surreal horror film about a man who gets delivered a box containing a key hidden in some dirt. Upon trying to figure out what it's for and what it means, he visits his therapist to get some answers, only to find himself being verbally abused and harassed. Before, out of anger, the man kills his therapist with a hammer and burns his body, only to come home and discover the shed that had been there all along. He uses the key to find the truth before he wakes up. Looking back, it is very cliche. Could have been shot better, and it is very strange. But it was my first film, and I was very proud of it at the time. Over the next 3 years, I would go on to make 5 more short films. When the coronavirus struck the world, I locked myself in my home and began to write. The result? Mysophobia, a horror short loosely based on COVID.
What's the food?
Pork belly.
Reactions were overwhelmingly positive, and over the next few months would be seen by over 6,000 people. Benevolence was made immediately after and has been my longest production yet, taking over a year of writing, planning, filming, and editing to get released with even more positive attention. The Axe Murder at Orville Creek. Fruitcake. What did you do? All would have never happened if I never pushed myself to start writing. I had gotten the film bug and have never recovered since. Ever since I was a kid, I would stare and observe my DVD collection, reading every inch of the cover until it was engraved into my mind. Cinema is in my blood, and I don't think it'll ever leave.